Before we move forward to the next conversation, a quick reminder, you can tweet us at The Hill Events using hashtag, and I got this wrong the first time, hashtag The Hill Small Biz with a Z. Across the country and around the corner, we're seeing the pandemic take a terrible toll on our favorite restaurants, our barbershops, our gyms, so many places. Employees furloughed or laid off, some businesses shuttered forever. As Congress takes action to stop the bleeding, we need to hear from those folks running these small businesses, running these associations of small businesses who know this space all too well. Understand how to tackle inequities so help gets to those who need it most. I'm pleased to be joined by Nathalie Huerta, owner of the Queer Gym in Oakland, California. I want to join. And it's online, I hear. So we can get there in a minute. Regina Smith, Executive Director of the Harlem Business Alliance, and my friend Ramiro Cavazos, President and CEO of the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. It's really great to be with all three of you. And Nathalie, I was so excited to have you on today and hear a lot of people. One, I totally support the notion of a safe, non-judgmental, great space to work out and to find, one's place in the queer gym where you are. But this COVID crisis hit you hard. Give a snapshot of your story.
Yes, thank you for having me. And so I own a gym here in Oakland, the Queer Gym. We were founded in 2010. We're the first LGBTQ gym in the nation, providing tailored training to the transgender community who's preparing for gender reassignment surgery or gender affirmation surgery. And, we've been online ever since quarantine happened. And it was just a split decision because we had no control over the situation. We just had control over what we could do and our resources and our creativity and our innovation and our community. And so there was no hesitation to tackle what the road was going to be ahead. So we just took initiative and leaned into the situation. We became Zoom masters overnight. We studied how to create connection and community via online. And we just really tried our best to keep a positive attitude and look for the silver lining in the situation, which, at that point is more of a mental hardship than anything else. But I think it was definitely the positive attitude, the grit that really helped us push through those first initial weeks of this pandemic. And now we've kind of found our groove in this new landscape, and we've been able to really push forward. We were blessed enough to have tripled our membership since quarantine back in March. And as we lean into more opportunities, more and more opportunities seem to come up. And it's been, I guess, mindset is really what I've been the most thankful for in this whole thing.
Well, and I just want to know that you did take PPP funds. And I want to jump to Regina because, I know not everyone has had your success, that there's been kind of some have done well in these times, but, the shocking economic data today where the U.S. economy has contracted 33% over the last quarter is just remarkable. But you took PPP loans. Was it a smooth process? Did it help you keep your employees on? And just real quickly, is there anything you would change about the process?
We received the PPP loan, the second round. And as a business owner, I was surprised I got it. I was surprised I got it, and it was a smooth process. It definitely made an impact. More than anything, of course, it helps with payroll and operation costs, but it helped with the peace of mind, right? That's really where it became essential for me as a leader, was knowing that at the end of the day, I still could keep my employees on, and I could still operate and still serve the community. It was just that financial breath gave us the peace of mind to be able to concentrate on what we needed to do to get ahead.
Regina, you work a Harlem Business Alliance with all sorts of different businesses. And, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but this is a time of a triple crisis, right? Health, economy, racial divides in this nation. And I'm just wondering, what's your North Star with your client base and trying to sort of not only survive in this moment, but prevail?
Well, it's been extremely difficult for businesses here in the Harlem community. Black businesses have been in a state of crisis prior to the pandemic. So the pandemic just absolutely threw everyone into a tailspin. So like most entrepreneurs, our clients are working hard to pivot to make the best of a horrible situation. Access to capital has been extremely difficult. Accessing the PPP funds were problematic. We knew that the first round of monies were inadequate for all the small business needs across the nation, and that we most likely would not get any. When the second round became available, we were concerned about being waitlisted, placed at the bottom of the wait list. And so we were encouraged to submit multiple applications. And then we were told that if you submitted multiple applications, that those applications would be thrown out. So there was a lot of confusion. There was a lot of fear, basically, that applications wouldn't be reviewed and wouldn't be approved and funded. And so it helped tremendously when we had some of our local CDFIs to join the fray and to provide financing. There wasn't enough technical assistance provided to businesses. And our micro entrepreneurs, the ones that really weren't targeted with the funding, didn't receive the type of outreach, the marketing outreach. So I would say that moving forward, that is critically important that a program be designed for micro entrepreneurs, for those businesses, the majority of small businesses in this nation actually that have less than 20 employees. There should be a targeted fund for micro entrepreneurs. CDFI should be capitalized, and community-based organizations that have long, deep ties to their communities should also be funded to do this work, to provide the outreach, to provide the technical assistance as well. We were on the phone with our clients 7 days a week, all hours of the day and evening, because everyone was trying their best to access these funds. So I don't want to take up too much time, but we absolutely have to do better. Black businesses in New York City are doing horribly, and I would imagine aren't faring well across the nation.
Well, I'm glad you're here saying that and raising, punctuating that issue, because people are listening to this, and we do have the policy community on hand. I'm interested that if you made this statement, I heard that, not everybody's watching CNN or MSNBC, that there are a lot of folks not in those networks, and that we need to do a better job of educating, reaching, and kind of creating a literacy of these opportunities. So we got a lot of folks listening. What do you think this crowd needs to hear? What does the political and policy community hear? What do the banks need to hear to help your world get better?
So again, the Small Business Administration does not have a good reputation of working with small businesses and with Black businesses in particular. It didn't happen during the Obama administration, and it's not happening now. So it's critically important that that these lending institutions and that the government actually engages grassroots organizations that are doing this work and that are connected to the communities. Oftentimes, these organizations are not adequately funded to do the work, although we have relationships with people within our community. I am a Harlem resident, born and bred. I grew up here. I still live here. I know tons of people in this community. Right. And if organizations such as ours were funded to do this kind of work, then I think that we could be a lot more successful. Also, you need to listen to what the needs of small businesses actually are. And you need to find out how they do their work and understand how they finance their businesses. Because oftentimes, one of the critical issues here was that if you did not pull money out of your business through a payroll account, you weren't eligible for funding. So this is a horrible time to find out that you don't have the proper documentation, that you haven't been operating your business according to guidelines that other people set forth. But if we're really interested in trying to save the few remaining businesses that we have and sustaining them and helping them to grow, we have to do a lot better. So that's what I would encourage people to do, is to actually dig deep into these communities and stop developing programs that you think best meets our needs.
Thank you for that. Ramiro, I couldn't think of a better panel to be on than this one with Nathalie and Regina. This is very real, high traction. You run really the largest Hispanic Business Association in America, and you and I have done a lot of things together in the past. I don't know how your members are doing. You have every kind of member out there, but what's the map for them? Are they? We have a story here from Regina where it's a terrible time in Harlem. We have the story from Nathalie Huerta, who turned on a dime, made lemonade out of lemons and is a king. What's the situation, more broadly in the national scene on Hispanic business?
Well, thank you, Steve, for having me. On behalf of our chairwoman, Carmen Castillo, herself an immigrant-owned business, we give you and Nathalie and Regina warm greetings. There's no question that the economy was already struggling before the virus hit. As I know Regina and Nathalie know, small minority and women-owned businesses, LGBTQ businesses were barely eking by, and it wasn't an insolvency problem that our businesses were having. It was really a lack of liquidity. And so when the virus hit, as you already know, 4.7 million Hispanic-owned businesses, just the segment that we represent at the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, 1 out of every 3 of our businesses are already closed. Many of them did not get the PPP loans in the first or the second round. And quite frankly, only $4 billion of the close to $160 billion plus have gone, actually $400 billion have gone to Hispanic-owned businesses. So the silver lining, though, Steve, is that our businesses are already reinventing themselves. As you've heard from Nathalie, her business has grown. Businesses in Harlem are going to have more tenacity as we move forward. They'll have more access to non-traditional sources of capital. The Small Business Administration only had about 1,000 lending certified entities before COVID hit. Now there are more than 5,000 out there, and there are financial fintechs that are out there, credit unions, state and local governments, and companies that have stepped up to start up their own fund. So quite frankly, Steve, I think this is a time that all of us, especially at the Chamber, we've benefited by listening and responding to necessity. More technical assistance. Regina mentioned that was not provided before. Now we're providing that in spades. English and Spanish access, multiple languages. This is a time for reinvention and using the digital age that we were not embracing at the time to really look forward to help our businesses. So we thank you for this forum, because we know that we're just now beginning and the recovery will be slow. This is a deep recession, global, but I've seen tremendous acts of solidarity amongst people throughout the world during this difficult time. And I think it's going to prepare us well for a recovery that will be slow, but it will be authentic.
Thank you. I want to ask Nathalie something in just a minute, but before I get to her, Ramiro, real quick form, short form, pretend I'm Mitch McConnell. What do I need to hear? What needs to be in the next Senate package, the Senate passed package on supporting this country and on the small business portion?
Well, if you were Mitch McConnell's, Steve, I would ask for more direct payments to families that have struggled throughout this country. It was not enough the first round. 2, I would make sure that there's additional capital provided to small minority women-owned businesses that, because of their lack of liquidity and they missed the first round because they were put at the end of the line, if they applied, they had their credit scores affected and their reputations affected, so then they didn't qualify for PPP. So I would make these loans truly forgivable, easy for $150,000 or less with no no credit checks. It would be the full backing of the government. The third thing I would say to Mitch McConnell is that our U.S. government is the largest buying service in the world, and it is not spending enough with businesses that are represented by the three of us. Less than 7% of the contracting by the federal government is not sufficient. We pay taxes. We need to have that equal percentage of the 33 million small businesses participate in public procurement. And the last point I would tell Mitch McConnell is get Fortune 1000 firms to put more people that look like us on their corporate boards, because we represent the future. This is not corporate social responsibility anymore. 70% of the U.S. economy, still the strongest economy in the world, is represented by consumer spending. And we represent that future, the future of the workforce of those companies and the vendors that they'll need in the future. So it just makes good business sense. So that's what I would ask Mitch McConnell, is put more money out there, make it forgivable, get corporate leaders and government leaders to spend money with our businesses.
Well, Ramiro, I know that there are some people who are close to Mitch McConnell watching today's show, so I hope they pass all that on to him. I'll do this. Nathalie, let me ask you a question. And again, just short form, because I've got two audience questions lined up for the three of you. But I guess we have two powerful association chiefs here that deal with the broad, they deal with folks that are in your area. What did you find? What did you reach inside yourself in this time? When you talked about changing on a dime, doing this, I mean, you talked about it as if it was nothing, it was just there. But I'm just interested in what is replicable about what you did that you can convey to our two friends on this panel that might be useful as they talk to their members.
The first thing that comes to mind is, I think part of the reason why I was able to pivot so much is just leaning into the resiliency that has been instilled in me as a female, as, a Latinx, as a queer person, as a small business owner. Like, those communities are made out of resilience. And so at the end of the day, we're going to be all right, but it would be great to get some assistance from our leaders. So to answer your question, I think Regina hit it right on the nose in terms of saying, if we don't know that help is available, how are we supposed to reach for it? And furthermore, the education piece and the technology piece, because a lot of my fellow entrepreneur brothers and sisters had no idea about Zoom, had no idea how to apply. And so, Ramiro brought up, solidarity amongst us, and that's really been what's kind of been making up what's been missing for us from government, from leaders, is we just help out each other the best that we can. I can go on and on about, me facilitating small business group Zoom meetings about how to use Zoom. What's your accountant doing for this? And how's your PPP loan going? And so the solidarity just among the small business entrepreneurs has really been, it's been inspiring, to say the least.
So community, mentorship, show and tell, those are elements of what's important. That's what I'm hearing from you, right?
Yes.
Let me take a question. We have Jabari Jones. Jabari Jones, and I'm going to direct this towards Regina. Jabari?
My name is Jabari Jones, and I'm the president of the West Philadelphia Corridor Collaborative, a large business association in Philadelphia. My question is, what should chambers of commerce and business associations on the local level be advocating for to ensure that there's an inclusive recovery?
Question. Thank you, Jabari. Regina, I'm going to let you hit that one.
So what you need to do is to, of course, being in close contact with your members, you need to speak to your elected officials, to your financial institutions, and also to the educational institutions. You have some world-renowned universities, the University of Pennsylvania. They need to be a lot more involved in improving the quality of work that's done. The contracting needs needs to be improved considerably. Oftentimes, Black businesses are totally ignored when it comes to contracting and procurement opportunities. That certainly has been the case here in New York during the pandemic. I mean, billions of dollars flew out the window to primarily, I would say about 95% of those contracts and maybe more went to white firms. That's untenable and it's unacceptable. And frankly, it's also criminal because as Ramiro mentioned, we are paying taxes. We support these, we support local, state, and federal government. And so we should be able to access greater resources, access to capital, and capital that is patient. So what I mean by patient capital is that sometimes it should be interest only. It should definitely be low interest loans. And in some cases, the government, yes, it shouldn't have been a forgivable loan. It should have been a grant for small businesses. And that's what I advocate for moving forward. Micro entrepreneurs should receive small grants. So I think that that's critically important, but we absolutely have to obtain the resources, get our percentage of procurement contracts, so that we can support our communities and we can reduce these disparities, which are huge within the Black community.
We have another question, but we're running out of time, and I'm just going to ask Ramiro and Nathalie just to give me very, very quick response. And so I'm going to read it from Janine Robinson. My question is, what support will be given to minority-owned businesses where credit approval might be an issue? And then this follow-up is that how can lenders and legislators and others come to make sure that minority and Black-owned businesses are aware of the funds are available? So I'd just be interested in your very quick insights, Ramiro and Nathalie, on that front, if you have thoughts on that. Ramiro?
Well, I just need to say that ideas are not actions, Steve, and we've had the CRA and so many wonderful programs aimed at contributing to providing more access to capital. But at the end of the day, those aren't actions. Those are just ideas. We are, if anything that's been proven about capital, and very quickly just want to say, we're all more interconnected than we thought we were before. You could not ignore the LGBT community, the Black community, the Asian or the Latino community, because that business leases that commercial office from your building and you own a note on that building that you owe at the bank. And if you lose those businesses, and many of them have gone out of business and we don't support them through contracting or procurement or capital, we're all going to be affected ultimately.
Appreciate it. Nathalie, quick thoughts? I'm sorry.
I would love for the credit report, the credit rating situation to be obsolete in this moment. I mean, this is very unique times. And I can tell you that I was a business that was impacted, didn't qualify because of my credit score, because I'm trying to survive my business and I'm throwing everything on a credit card. So it's kind of a catch-22 in that situation. So we can eliminate that. I know how many people would have a positive impact from that, just that alone.
Okay, so real quick before you go, you've tripled your membership. Are you maxed out now? You're doing this all online. Do you want more members?
Yes, we are 100% online right now. So all of you watching, come through and get in shape with us. And, you know, what we're going through right now is, you know, we're still kind of navigating. We've been blessed to have grown, but with that also comes different operating procedures and things like that. So we're trying to finagle our way through that right now.
Well, listen, what a pleasure it's been. I wish we could go on and on. Ramiro Cavazos of the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Regina Smith of the Harlem Business Alliance. What incredible things you're doing. Nathalie Huerta, it was great to hear about your success and pivot with the Queer Gym. Thank you all for sharing your insights today.